world premiere of the Metaphysical play Cogito. Thank you. But first, some domestics. We're not expecting to send anyone to like the play, or indeed the stage or anything else, but if a firearm does go, it is not a practice, so please make your way to one of the fire exits, which is either that one at the back or the two, or that one over there. So whichever you're nearest, just get out. We are going to reassemble at the statue of Oliver Cromwell if there is a fire. Hopefully that's not going to happen. And now, it is an honour and privilege to welcome to the stage Sandra Buckingham and the Huntingdonshire Guitar Ensemble, who are here to entertain us first. So thank you very much. Thank you, Sandra.
Good evening. We'd like to thank Roy and the committee for inviting us. We are delighted to be here. We're going to play two short pieces to start with. They are from a set of 7 talents and so by Handel, dances from the opera. And we're going to play a minuet and a Blu-ray. Unfortunately, we have to keep the numbers down tonight because we're only short of time, but we hope you enjoy. say that really changed the face of tango. Disapproved by the traditionalists to start with, and he wrote lots of different styles of tango. But it got taken up by the younger players and became the norm. And so there are now all sorts of different styles. We're going to play one of his more slouchy numbers, and this is Oblivion. She's recovering and coming back soon. Our next piece I chose because of philosopher in question tonight. William Lawes was born at much the same time as Descartes. We know he was christened in 1602 and he died in 1645, so the dates are fairly similar. Lawes was English though, he wasn't French. He was born near Oxford in a musical family, and he became a musician to the Prince Regent, who then was King Charles I. He wrote lots of pieces, at least 65 for the King's Consort, and lots of other music as well. And sadly he died whilst fighting alongside the King in 1645. The two pieces in question, they are taken straight from the lute tablature music, which is stored in Oxford University Library, so you can actually go and see it. And we're going to play two dances, a Saraband and Almain. Thank you. So we're going much larger different era now, I suppose, a traditional folk song from Spain. No idea when this was written, anyone would know, or who it was written by. The lady who was missing is Spanish, and it was one she remembered singing when she was at school. And so we like to play, we play some of these, but only time for one this evening. So Blinken and Balin, they jump and they dance. And really it's a Christmas song, a Christmas tune, but we don't care because we quite like it, so we hope you enjoy it. You may jump and dance. London Trio No. 1. We do play all three pieces, but not tonight, different time. Now Haydn wrote quite a number of London trios, and as time went on, they were for strings, but as time went on, he incorporated other instruments, and we know he incorporated the flute in some, not necessarily in this one, but we are incorporating the flute because we wrote them code with our flute for this one. And so we hope you enjoy. Now I have to sit down for this, so you have to give me a second, so I'm sure that air conditioning is made for Charles and Griffin.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is now going to be a break for approximately a quarter of an hour while Sandra and her assistants take off to the side of the stage with their gear, and that gives us another time to get to the bar. So, thank you. Something completely different. And by God, it is. I'm going to start by introducing to you one of the most fascinating characters in the history of philosophy, mathematics and science, Rene Descartes. Born in 1596 in La Haye in Touraine, France, and now that is called after him. His family was of the old French nobility. He was sent to boarding school for 8 years at the Jesuit college in Anjou, where he would have been immersed in the full classical curriculum. He went on to study law at the University of Poitiers, but then, in the 30 Years' War, 1618, and to 1648, he spent about 10 years as a soldier. He claimed that it was while he was holed up during the long cold winters as a soldier that he began brewing his new philosophy. It is important to remember that at this time philosophy and science were still one subject, and the streams would diverge centuries later. At the time Rene was writing, science was undergoing a revolution. The old science based on Aristotle was breaking down and being overthrown by a dangerous new discovery. It was being claimed that the Earth was not the centre of the universe, but was revolving around the sun. Fancy that. This was a shattering idea, but for Rene, even more challenging ideas were arriving from England, no less. These ideas spoke of science being based on sight, sound and touch, or sense perceptions. Surely, he thought, no knowledge worth a centime could be based on easily mistaken perceptions. How many times had he burnt his tie on suit that he was sure looked cold, or looking into the distance, had seen an old friend and run to catch them up, only to find out he had pursued someone else, much to that person's amusement. No, science could not be based on such uncertainty. For science to be science, it must be certain, like mathematics, and not tainted by mistaken experiences or faulty sense perceptions. When we meet Rene in this play, he has just published his great book, The Discourse on the Method of 1637, and now in 1638 he is thinking of a more thoroughgoing project along the same lines. We will also meet Rene's friend, the Franciscan friar Marin Mersenne, who plays an important role in Paris as a sort of internet hub of his time. Mersenne keeps all the intellectuals connected. Descartes and Mersenne often debate the issues around Rene's next project. The challenge, they thought, was to face courageously up to the philosophical problem of how we can know anything at all, and how we can distinguish between reality and illusion, to create a formula for certain knowledge that can be the foundation of all sciences, knowledge that must hold true even though our senses disagree and our own reason rebel. We join Rene in the year 1638 in his house in Paris. He has a lifelong habit of working in bed, which he finds soothing, particularly on cold winter days. Friar Marin Mersenne arrives unexpectedly. It is noon on a cold, sullen, wintry day.
Maria! See you dares disturb my peace and warm estate on this most brutal time of the day. Be sure to keep the door shut. Keep them outside and the warmth inside. Keep them waiting for my pleasure. And particularly this, let them know my disapproval when you do answer the door.
Bonjour, Monsieur Mersenne. Je vous demande pardon. Entrez, s'il vous plaît.
there. I beg your forgiveness. Please, welcome. Come in and warm yourself by the fire. I trust its flames will restore your amiable disposition.
Je suis vraiment désolé, mon cher Descartes. I've travelled many miles in the hope of seeing you, and I felt the devil's cold grip. And here you are, dressed to impress. Well, may the bullshit take me now.
The fire will warm your disposition and put behind you all ill feelings, which, as you say, are the devil's work. Please, Marie, I will not keep my guest waiting by getting dressed now. Please go to the bedroom and take his coat and find a chair by the fire. And you need to move some books and keep them all in order. Come this way. My maid will certainly make you warm and comfortable. Come into my inner sanctum. I hope you don't mind me not dressing now. This is where I do most of my work. I'm here most of the day, and it's my refuge. It's my place of refuge where I do a bit of my thinking. But how often I've dreamt that I was sitting here in my bed, surrounded by my books, or in the parlour by the fire, when in reality I was fast asleep.
So now you're wondering whether I'm real, or whether you're asleep or awake, whether I'm real, or merely a phantom of your imagination.
I hope you don't feel I'm insulting you by feeling insulted by my doubts about your existence.
Well, the eyes that I open now are awake, and the head that I shake is not asleep, and the hand that I proffer this hand towards you consciously, with the express purpose of shaking yours, and I see and feel myself doing so. The things that happen in sleep are not as distinct as all this, surely.
Can you really be sure? I cannot forget that on many occasions I've been deceived in sleep by similar illusions. When I attentively consider those cases, I realise it's very hard to tell the difference between sleeping and waking.
Mon Dieu, you cannot be serious, Monsieur Descartes.
You're shocked, brother. I greatly surprise myself. I can even imagine that I'm dreaming now, with you yourself in my dream.
Then I must be dreaming too. I must be going, am I going mad with you? Are we seriously to suppose that we are both asleep and dreaming, and that all these particulars, namely the opening of the eyes, the motion of the head, the putting forward of the hand, are mere illusions, and that we have no head or eyes or body such as we see them? Well, what then?
Speaking of bodies reminds me, I've almost insulted you again by not offering you any wine to warm you up. Maria, where's that maid jar? Oh. You see, I should have known you, she would not have forgotten us. You see, Maria doesn't believe you're illusory.
Did you hear them? Our bodies are illusions. Really? Did you see their faces light up at the sight of me bringing them some phantom wine?
Where were we? Oh yes, waking or dreaming. Waking or dreaming, sleeping. Without your real presence, brother. At least I have to admit this. The images that appear to us in our dreams are at least, as it were, painted representations of something. They couldn't have existed unless there were some realities somewhere.
No, you're saying that my head, hands and body are not merely drawn from your vivid imagination, but must exist somewhere.
Exactly. You know when painters try to represent sirens or satyrs by the most fantastic and imaginative forms, yet they can't extol upon them completely new and original forms.
Well, so you're saying that all they produce is copies, that they can only create a sort of medley of different parts about it.
That's right.
Well, what if they should imagine some creature so different that nothing like it has ever been seen before?
Well, even if the beast is purely fictitious and totally fantastic, at least we must assume that the colours which it formed are real.
Let me see if I understand you correctly. You're saying that even though you're imagining my head, my eyes, my hands, my body, and your body, there must nevertheless be real originals somewhere that truly exist.
Precisely. We're absolutely forced to admit the existence of at least some other objects, still more simple and basic and realistic than these appearances. It's out of such existing realities that all our images are formed, whether true and real or false and imaginary.
But how, of all the objects of our thought and perception, are we to tell which really exists? Which of them truly exist?
I think the class of real and physical objects consist of things that can be counted or measured, things that occupy a specific spatial location or a specific temporal duration of existence.
Then what about all the complicated things that we are taught about by the learned in the books and schools and universities? Are we to suppose that they are all uncertain or false?
I'm afraid I think we must conclude that all those sciences that deal with complex things, like physics or astronomy or medicine, are indeed of doubtful quantity.
Well then, what on earth can we trust?
Well, there remains mathematics, geometry, and those sciences which deal with only the most basic things, the things that are universally accepted as real and existing.
Well, I'm most relieved to hear that there are some things left that are certain. I hope my existence is one of them. Give me some examples.
Well, for your comfort, mon ami, I think whether asleep or dreaming, we can conclude that 2 and 3 make 5, and the numbers of the sides of the square are precisely 4. Is it possible that that can possibly be such with any doubt or incertitude?
Well, at least we can believe 2 and 3 make 5. What a comfort.
Monsieur Descartes, I am amazed at your capacity to doubt almost everything. And yet there persist some things that you hold to be certain. I'm tempted to play your ardent disciple and to try to out-doubt you. What if everything is a dream? A grand illusion?
Everything.
Yes, what if...
Not just you and me, but everything we can see and touch and feel, but everything.
Yes, what if God has not created earth and sky? What if God has merely created the perceptions of those objects? What if he may have actually created in you the persuasion that these things exist exactly as you see them, but they do not exist? How can you tell?
Well, you're beginning to sound like the tempter in Eden who persuaded Eve to doubt the goodness of God. And I thought you were a good Francescan. For a long time now, I've had a steady belief in my mind there was a God who is all-powerful and who created me such as I am.
Well, I'm glad he's sure of God, even if he does doubt everything else.
Monsieur, that was a fine statement of faith, with which I concur. But I've often heard you asserting that others are mistaken in their beliefs.
Indeed, you're right. I've often observed others who have been in error on matters of which they believe themselves to have a perfect knowledge.
Well then, how do you know that you're not deceived every time you add together 2 and 3, or number the sides of the square, or form some other judgment even more simple, if that can be imagined.
Deity surely has not been willing that I should be thus deceived, to be said to be supremely good. I find the notion that under the state of constant deception repugnant to the goodness of God.
But it would seem likewise, contrary to his goodness, that you should be allowed even occasionally to be deceived. And yet you must admit that you, even you, Monsieur Descartes, can be deceived.
It is true, I can be deceived, occasionally, like Adam and Eve in Eden.
Only occasionally? How do you know where this deception begins and ends?
Let us suppose I'm deceived in all my perceptions. Not by that deity, of course, who's supremely good and the fountain of all truth. Not him, of course. But let us imagine a malevolent demon who is extremely potent and deceitful, and uses all his artifice to take me in.
Well, then nothing can be played at all. There is nothing left. There is no philosophy. We cannot do philosophy. We can no longer talk about loving wisdom.
Calm yourself, Father, calm yourself. Let's see where this leads us. Let us see. Let us imagine there is no sky, no sea, no colours, no figures, no sounds, and all external things, and nothing but illusions which this demon uses to take me in.
All external things?
Yes, quite. I will imagine myself that I have no eyes, hands, flesh, blood, or any of the senses. I will assume that my belief in my senses is false.
You can hardly keep up this kind of universal belief, universal doubt, and live.
Let us see where it leads us. I will continue in this belief, and it is not in my power to achieve any truth by this method.
Well, what then?
Well, I shall do what is in my power. I shall suspend my judgment on every proposition. I will guard with settled purpose against giving my assent to what is false. I will prepare my mind so well against this demon that he will not be able to deceive me, whatever his power and cunning.
Very noble and brave of you. But this undertaking will be arduous in the extreme.
It will be, and I fear certain indolence will lead me back to my former course of thinking. Rather like the prisoner who in his sleep is enjoying an imaginary liberty, dreads to be awakened when he begins to suspect it's all but a dream.
Yes, he will much prefer his dream.
He will conspire with the illusions so they may be prolonged. In the same way, I know I will willingly fall back into my former way of thinking.
Yes, you will fear waking from your pleasant sleep. You will fear philosophizing.
It's true, I will dread to arouse myself from my slumber, lest it be followed by a period of laborious wakefulness.
The bliss of ignorance and happy delusion we all live under. To sleep unthinking is best. To wake would be a terror. Philosophy is a terrible thing.
Oh, where is my wonderful philosophy? Instead of casting light onto the great truths of this world, it might have failed to dispel the darkness which these questions have arisen. Brother, I hold you responsible. We must get some more wine and some food to cheer us up. And I really must get dressed. Maria!
Oui, monsieur.
Please get some more wine and some food to cheer us up, and prepare the lounge for us. I'm going to get dressed later. Stood at the fire.
I must confess that I am delighted to see the great Monsieur Descartes so discomfited and humbly confessing his lack of confidence in his own powers.
Anyone remember Alexei Saab? I made Charlie.
You can make a joke about Ford 40 years.
You did, yeah. And they can't. Let's stop it. I'll carry on and I'll go and get them if they're not back. Okay, this is scene 2, and welcome back to the fireside in Rene's parlour on a wintry evening in Paris, 1638. Rene has already doubted his senses, and Father Marin is about to make Rene doubt much more. Is there anything at all that he cannot doubt?
Mersenne, I confess that our previous conversation has filled my mind with so many doubts, I cannot ignore them.
Monsieur Descartes, is there really no principle you can find on which things may result?
Not at this moment. It's as though I've suddenly fallen into very deep water. I'm so disconcerted that I can neither place my feet firmly on the bottom nor sustain myself by swimming on the surface. Nevertheless, I'll make one effort.
Bravo, monsieur. Then I will endeavour to accompany you in your struggle.
Come, brother, let's try afresh on the path you previously entered, by taking everything we've possibly cast aside with doubt, and continuing until we find something that is certainly true.
What if no such certainty is found?
Well, then at least we'll know with certainty that nothing is certain.
Well, there's a fine paradox. Certain that nothing is certain.
Archimedes claimed that he could transport the globe from the position it occupied to another, provided he was given one point that was firm and immovable. Do you recall the story?
Yes. Celebrating his principle of the lever, which he is said to have demonstrated by launching a great ship single-handed.
Just so. Shall we not also be entitled to such high hopes if we could find one thing that's absolutely certain?
Yes. I think the analogy is apt. One thing must be shown to be certain.
We suppose accordingly that all our things that we feel and see are fictitious. We must assume that everything that appears in our fallacious memory never existed.
Yes, we must suppose that there is no validity in our memory, and also no validity in our senses. We must believe that body, figure, extension, motion, place are all fictions of our minds. What then is there that can be esteemed true?
Perhaps this only, that nothing is certain.
Absolutely certain that absolutely nothing is certain.
absolutely certain that absolutely nothing is certain. But I'm quite certain that they're quite certain that the wine exists.
Ah, how do you know there's not something other than what we've already enumerated? Something totally different, which is totally beyond the range of doubt. What of that? Well, now what causes these thoughts to arise in my mind?
Well, is it not possible that you yourself are capable of generating these thoughts?
If so, then at least I am something.
But wait. You said that earlier that you possessed neither body nor sense. Can you still continue to be?
Am I so dependent upon my body and my senses that without them I cannot exist?
But we agreed, did we not, that there was nothing in heaven, in earth, or there was nothing in the world. No earth, no sky, no spatial thing, no figure, no magnitude.
No earth, no sky, no cakes, no wine.
Do you not at the same time have to agree that you do not exist?
Oh, far from it. Assuredly I do exist, for it was I that was thus persuaded.
Well, but we all agreed, did we not, that there was a creature, we know not what kind of creature, who is possessed both of the highest power and of the deepest cunning, who is employing all his ingenuity in deceiving us.
Doubtless that I exist, as I was deceived. Let him deceive me as much as he likes. He can never cause me to be nothing, so long as I am conscious that I am something.
So, after all, when all things are mature and carefully considered, we can conclude
With this statement. I am and I exist. It's true every time I say it or conceive it in my mind.
Well, it's nice to be reassured that of your existence. Tell me, do you yet know, or claim to know, with sufficient clarity, what you
No, that is far from clear. Therefore, in taking the next step, I must be careful not to make a big mistake and substitute something else for what is properly myself.
And this confusion arises from the very discovery that you now claim is the most certain and certain thing in the world. You know that you are, but you don't know what you are.
For this reason, I must consider afresh what I formerly believed myself to be before I entered onto this present train of thought.
And of all those former opinions, you must scrap everything that now has the slightest doubt.
Indeed. Everything that can be invalidated by the grounds of doubt that is put in my way. Henceforward, I will make nothing except that which is certain.
Well, let us hope there is something that remains. What were these thoughts you had about yourself?
Undoubtedly, I considered that I was a man.
Well, what is a man?
Let us say, a rational creature.
What that won't do, for then we would have to inquire as to what is meant by rational and what is meant by creature. So that one question will rapidly breed many others.
An infinite number, each more awkward than the last. Anyway, I don't have time to waste on trivialities like this.
Then how on earth are we going to discover what we
I prefer here to attend to the matters that sprung up in my mind themselves, inspired by my own nature and my own thoughts, when I first applied myself to what I was.
are? So what were these basic thoughts you had about your own nature?
Well, first, I considered I had hands, arms, flesh, blood, and the whole fabric of flesh as we find in a corpse, which we call the body. It further occurred to me that I walked, I ate, I perceived and I thought, and all those actions I attributed to the soul.
But what is the soul?
I either did not consider the nature of the soul, or if I did, I considered it something very fine and subtle, a bit like flame or wind or vapour, spread evenly through my material parts.
And what about body?
I did not doubt it, but I thought I distinctly knew it.
If I were to have asked you then, what would you say it was?
I think I would explain myself like this. The body, I understand, to have a certain shape, occupies a certain space, so as to exclude all other objects from the space. It can be received by touch, hearing, taste, smell, and it can be moved by objects touching it or impacting upon it.
Then you did not believe that a body, apart from a mind, could have the capacity of initiating its own motion.
No. Then I thought that the power to move and to think and to perceive were not properties of the body. In fact, I was very surprised when I discovered that certain bodies did possess those properties.
But as to yourself now, what can you say that you are?
Since we are now supposing a supremely powerful and benevolent being, who is, I may say so, malicious and cunning, is trying to perceive me at all times, can I say I possess any one of those attributes of the body which I've previously just attributed? What do you think?
Well, any may be a delusion. I think none can be said with certainty to belong to who you are in yourself.
That is my conclusion. To list those characteristics of the body would be tedious and unnecessary. Let us then pass to the characteristics of the soul. What were they?
Well, you mentioned the power of eating and walking.
Aha! And I should also mention drinking. Maria!
Oui, monsieur.
We finished this line. Can you, where were we? I think it's not a joke. And where were we? Let me think. Eating and walking, you said. And if it's true I have no body, it therefore must follow that I cannot walk or eat.
Or drink.
What was that?
Nothing, monsieur.
Where were we?
Shall I pour?
Oh yes, please. Thank you. Where were we? Thank you, Maria. Now, what's another attribute of the soul?
Perception. But surely that is impossible without the body.
Indeed. Moreover, I've often thought I perceived things in my sleep, but afterwards I found I hadn't perceived them at all. What is another attribute of the soul?
Thinking.
Brother, here at last we discover what is properly belongs to myself. This alone is inseparable from me. I am, I exist. This is certain. But for how long? As long as I think.
Are you then saying that if you or I wholly cease to think, then we would instantly cease to be?
Yes, you and I would become non-existent. And note, I'm saying nothing here that is not necessarily true.
What about we who don't think? Who just get on with things? Do we not also exist? Have these books not just got dusted? What about my poor old mother? She can't think or speak. Is she not really there? Her reason and her memory's gone, but the right. She can cause trouble. She can laugh, cry, and she can hum tunes. She's there all right. Am I being a philosopher now?
Am I, therefore, precisely speaking, only thinking?
This is so. Each of us has a mind or a soul. Mens sive animus. We have understanding or reason. Each of these terms has gained a new significance to me that was unknown before. I am a real thing and really existent. But what kind of thing?
I think I know.
Exactly, Doctor. Exactly, brother. A thinking thing.
I think, therefore I am. Cogito, ergo sum.
Thank you very much. We're now going to try something completely different. We're going to have a short Q&A session. And for that, I'd like to welcome to the stage the author of the play, Gavin Hitchcock. So, session started. Has anybody got any questions, either about the play, how the actors felt acting it, what is trying to be delivered in the play, or anything? Silence. Sorry? Steve?
Thank you, Wayne. As the play went on, I started to get drawn into it, which was quite an interesting series. So my question is, having been drawn into it and you finished leaving me wanting more, so will there be a part two?
I think there was, amongst the actors, there was perhaps a desire to do the same play elsewhere, perhaps. This is a one-off, it is a world plan. But it's been very successful, I think. I think putting on philosophy is not an easy task. I think the actors deserve all that. There's another Kathy right at back, another question.
Thank you. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. Very much took on the point Gavin was trying to make. I have to say, I thought May was brilliant. I think actually what she did is she juxtaposed the points very succinctly by, actually putting a normal interpretation on it. So I thought it was excellent. And well done, Gavin, for putting it in that position.
Thank you, Kathy. This is, incidentally, that's Sharon Green. Any more questions? Chris. Sorry, Chris.
Hi. Just echo my previous comments how well it was acted, so kudos to the actors. I have a question for the actors. Have you now gone through Descartes' arguments? Do you feel convinced by his arguments?
Up to a point. I think we have to live in the real world and we have to live under using our own perceptions.
I think, you can see flaws in the argument. You can see casting doubt on 2 plus 3 equals 5, stuff like that. That doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's not as if finding out that 2 plus 3 makes 5 is something you observe in the world. It just is. You wouldn't go thinking, I've got to prove 2 and 3 makes 5, so I'm going to find hundreds and hundreds of examples of 2 and 3 makes 5 until I find one that isn't, and therefore I can doubt it. It's just a matter of definition that 2 plus 3 is 5. So sort of actually trying to doubt it that way is sort of a bit, sort of going too far in some way.
I say something as though I'm not an actor. That kind of audacious doubt everything does seem crazy, and I think Descartes knew that it would come across that way, so when he first published his Discourse on Method, he put 3 appendices after it, which everyone who isn't a mathematician forgets about. And one of those is called La Géométrie, the geometry. And that is how Descartes is remembered by all mathematicians who revere that appendix. Because these appendices were there to demonstrate the power of his method, doubting everything, starting from scratch, forgetting all that was ever been taught. And it did work. You have to admit that book, La Géométrie, it was the beginning of what we've all studied at school. You ever heard of Cartesian coordinates, or Cartesian geometry, or Cartesian axes? Descartes. And that was his appendix. So hooray! I mean, it works. Now he invented coordinate geometry, and that's why we talk about it.
I just tidy up after the great man.
Well, thanks, Chris. The application to join the group in the past. Any other questions?
So do you think we ever do a learn a bit with other philosophers as the Descartes or like Socrates or any of the others who are known to have done dialogues similar to that?
Sorry, are you asking, is it in that kind of thing?
No, would you ever want to direct other plays of this nature with other philosophers instead of Descartes?
I'd like to do Leibniz. Leibniz was a great enemy of Isaac Newton, and he had an opposing philosophy. I'm not sure whether they actually met. Leibniz was a diplomat, and he opposed Newton's kind of ideology of what his science, as it was at the time. And I'd like to do it if Gavin is willing. But then to me, fascinating.
The trouble is that Roy's favourite philosophers are all the obscure ones. Not the obscure, sorry. The most difficult ones to understand. Leibniz and Hume and who's your other favourite? Whitehead. And there's another one.
Aristotle, Plato.
Well, now, Plato's fine. Plato, I would love to have Socrates on stage. Would love.
Yeah, I think that would work well.
Is there any Barbara?
Yeah, can we have Leibniz the musical?
We were thinking of breaking out to song.
Because when the maid kept on talking about the wine, it brought to mind the Monty Python philosophers and Rene Descartes was drunk and I drink therefore I am. So Leibniz the musical would be great.
Thank you, Barbara. I think on that merry note, I'm going to draw a Q&A. I'd just like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank the actors, Mike, was Descartes, Rupert Wood, was Marin, and Sharon, who was Rene. I'd like to thank Sandra and Huntingdonshire Guitar Ensemble. That was amazing. Very well done. I'd like to thank the Corn Exchange, in particular Joe, for helping out, and Kathy. That was amazing. Done a great job tonight. That was great. And last but not least in my thanks, I'd like to thank the Royal Institute of Philosophy, which paid for this event to happen. And so it's down to them that this happened at all. We've got money and funding to do it. So thanks to them. Last but not least, I'd like to invite to the stage here to the lectern Peter Cooper to say a few words about St Ives U3A. Thank you.
Hello, Peter Cooper, Chair of St Ives U3A for now. I'd like to say a word to anybody. I recognise lots of U3A people and welcome. I'll speak to you in a moment. But those who aren't part of U3A, in St Ives, we do have a philosophy group. We have 60 other groups doing walking and table tennis and Italian and German and all sorts of things. And in fact, any member of our U3A can create another group and we'll support them in doing anything, particularly for people who are no longer in full-time employment. If you're interested, we've got leaflets and even the latest magazine, edited and produced by our editor, who's here tonight. And I've even got applications, if you want to take it away. It costs an awful lot. It costs £13 to be a member of our U3A. And it's really fun. Right, a word to those who are in U3A, which is most of you, I think. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday when we have our AGM first, but then more music. We have one of our jazz group playing, we have our Singing for Pleasure, we have our ukulele group. So even if you don't want to come for the AGM, it's worth coming for the entertainment. Sorry? Oh, and cake! Yes, sorry. Forgot about that. There's a bit of cake, a little bit of cake, and tea, and it's usually fun. So thank you for coming. Thank you for Roy for producing all this. Thank you everybody who's been part of it, and thank you for everybody in the U3A who contributes in some way. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Have a safe journey home, and hopefully we'll see you next year. It might be diamonds.